These American Bully XL dogs are specifically bred to be attack dogs. That's what they're for. They are kind of
murdering machines.
These dogs are not right in their head.
And then the dog turns, and it can turn on a dime. It can turn
for the tiniest of reasons.
But do they actually? Dogs with good relationships with their owner suddenly turn on their owners? The answer is no. This just doesn't happen. It's been really irritating me that this seems to be the narrative that is being pushed by the media. Whenever they're interviewing anyone with an XL Bully or someone who has worked with XL Bullies, they're pushing this idea that, but we know that dogs can suddenly turn on their owner. So what would you do? This dog's so powerful and it's so strong. What would you do in this situation? And I just find it really rude and insulting, not just for the owner. It just doesn't happen. This is not what our stable dogs do that have good relationships with owners. They don't suddenly wake up one day and want to maul them. The reasons why dogs bite is generally because they are scared, they are fearful, or they're just uncomfortable. This is why they're biting. They don't just do it out of the blue. The other reason can just be a medical reason. So of course there probably has been instances out there where it has been totally unforeseen or it's come seemingly out of the blue, but there is always a reason for behavior. It doesn't just happen. When there have been very rare cases of dogs who were absolutely fine, they showed no aggressive behavior, they showed no signs of being fearful or intimidated, suddenly biting, attacking, or even killing a person. In most of those cases, it would have been something medical. It doesn't just happen out of the blue like that. It's going to be that the dog was in pain, that they maybe had some kind of brain seizure. There's going to be a reason why it happened. It doesn't just happen for no reason. A lot of the time when our dogs do bite, there has been so many signs beforehand that there is a problem, and the dog is trying to communicate that through their body language. This happens so often, and it often does get missed. Many owners don't necessarily understand if their dog is feeling uncomfortable, if they're feeling wary, if they're feeling unsure about something. This is what leads to things like biting or attacks. Remember as well that dogs tend to be a lot more tolerant with their owners. So if there is something going on in the home, if the dog's being pushed too much, if there's conflict with the relationship with the owner, even though they may not do anything to the owner, that will come out somewhere else. So that might happen to a stranger simply because the dog is already scared, they're frustrated, they're worried about something, they're uncomfortable, they may be in pain. And so these behaviors then tend to come out in unexpected ways, but it doesn't just happen out of the blue. There are usually so many clues that this could potentially happen before it actually happens. So you as dog owners have to understand your dog. You don't have to understand the body language of every dog in the park, but you need to understand your dog's body language. You need to understand what your dog is trying to tell you. If they're being petted and they're moving their head to the side, if they're yawning, if they're trying to get away, that probably means they don't want to be touched anymore. If they cower away when strangers come towards them, don't get that person to continuously try and feed your dog. They're not comfortable. They're not ready for that. We have to see these little signs because our dogs are always trying to communicate with us. It's just that we often miss it. So let's stop spreading this kind of misguided information because it's just dangerous. It gives people the idea that any dog can suddenly just turn on them. And it just simply isn't true. That's not how dogs work. They will give you signs that something is wrong. Or I said in the cases that they don't, this is so rare. It's so rare that dogs bite simply because they're just aggressive, because they're not scared, they're not fearful, they're not in any pain. And don't get me wrong, it can happen, but it's so rare. And so this is not usually the case of what happens with every day with our dogs. It is happening because we are not understanding them properly. And I just think that it's so presumptuous and almost rude to be telling people who own XL Bullies that have children or, have a really good relationship with their dog, oh, well, your dog might suddenly turn on you. No, they're not. They're not going to suddenly turn on you. You need to understand dogs a lot better before you start saying things like this.